ever go, all right, you are looking live. It's sold out, man. Stay with today. The 16-0 playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Jacksonville Jaguars. And why the Jacksonville Jaguars 0-16? Because they suck. Number one. I've never even been to a Super Bowl. Come on, you've been around since 1995, almost 30 years. Come on, Jacksonville. Let's get to a Super Bowl. Huh? Jacksonville Jaguars. You suck. Hey, that stuff gets me every time. Woo, welcome to the Gridiron. Randy's here. We can continue. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there always going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. For anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. By the way, throw in the chat box, use it. Try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes. As soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free to fire away with the comments. But plus also, seriously, instead of me just listening to myself ramble on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box, takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called Saquon. The second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level I got's called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Maybe you give this video a thumbs up or share this video. That would be freaking awesome. And then also, finally, just a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link. The one underneath it, I'll go over the Facebook link in just a second. The one underneath it, to me, I'm an old-time fart. I can't stand change. I'm too much of an idiot to have to think and adapt and change and all that kind of stuff. I just keep stuff the way it is, right? The link on it's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me. It will always be Twitter. I'm one of them. Get off my lawn. Just get off my crabgrass, right? Come on. One of them old-time farts, right? Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants me to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. I'm calling it Twitter. Why? Because it's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put some Giants-related stuff every day in my Twitter account. And then finally, also the link on top of it takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 8,600 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right. Well, all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, I mean, the one thing it was nice hearing about on Hard Knocks. A lot of cool stuff going on there. A lot of little tidbits and all in the ring. I was a little surprised. Now, the one thing, this is one thing I'm going to go over. They were talking about Daboll was like a lot, talking about they could trade up to get Jaden Daniels. He was like, oh, yeah. I don't know. Was that? I guess that was also maybe after his conversation that they had, because remember, they had their visits at the combine, and they brought Jaden. They had McCarthy in there, right? They had May in there. They had Daniels, even had Caleb Williams in there. Yeah, a bunch of guys in there, quarterbacks. And of course, you don't get to see everything. The guys are in there for probably like half an hour or so. So, I mean, you're not going to see everything, But I just thought it was a little weird, that because Daboll wants the guys who are on. You got to be fast thinker. As we see, the quarterbacks. You got to be smart. You got to be you got to be on top of things. In obviously in Daboll's coaching system, and just that one little snippet there where he's talking all the quarterbacks, but he's like, okay, take the X and make him a Z, take the Y, make him an H, take the erase this guy. I mean, all right, now this. Okay, now I'm going to give you a play. Blah 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 blah. Okay, run it back to me. All right, so if the guys, there's a coverage, single zone, but who are you going to throw the ball to? Blah 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 blah. So he was drilling the guys, but you're not going to hear all of that stuff because then the Hard Knocks episode would be about 17 and a half hours long, right? But it was just the one thing. It was just he was trying to see, I guess, how Daniels was going to react, and so Daboll asked him a question. Who are you going to throw? What are you going to do? Who are you going to throw the ball to? Whatever. If it's I forgot what it was. I watched it 2 times and I forgot what it was. We think if it was a single high or if the guy or something, he said, what are you going to do then? And then Dane was like, throw a touchdown pass. And it was like, all right, I like that. But I'm not sure if that's exactly the answer, he was really looking for, but it seems like he was pretty gung-ho on, I don't know if Daniels was 1 and then May was 2, what I mean? If he would have taken Daniels over him, you'll never know, But Washington wasn't moving. That wasn't happening. The Bears weren't moving. Yeah, and probably would have taken an act of God for maybe to get the Patriots to move. Honestly. So the Giants were in a little bit of a pickle there. Then obviously the next thing was the next, Nix and Penix and McCarthy and the next wave of guys. Were they worthy of a pick 6, right? You also got to realize too that with Daniels, some of you got to look at it. Once again, obviously you can, you got the film to look at, so you can always see his body of work. But sometimes it's the guys you're throwing the ball to make you look a little bit better too. I'm not sure if how many first round wide receivers Drake May had coming out from his team. You know what I mean? So sometimes, obviously, like having a Malik there, right, makes you look a little bit better than you are. But Daboll, he seemed like he was pretty gung ho on getting him some Daniels. Hard Knocks reveals who is this? CBS Sports and Cody Benjamin. Brian Daboll would have traded up for this top quarterback prospect. Giants approach the 2024 NFL season with Daniel Jones returning under center. It's no secret, however, that the club seriously pursued a new quarterback this offseason. The latest episode on Hard Knocks goes a step further, revealing head coach Brian Daboll heartily approved a potential trade-up for Jaden Daniels, who ultimately went number 2. So, there was no... And the other thing, too, is that, obviously, Washington, they did their own, obviously, scouting and, they got all the information. And I don't know. Unless they really thought that May and Daniels and all the other quarterbacks were just total busts, then I could have seen them, because if the Giants are trading up to number 2, they're not trading up for a punter. They're not trading up for a water boy, right? They're not trading up for Bobby Boucher, right? That's some high quality H2O right there. They're not calling, you're trading up from 6 to 2. It's only for one position, right? So I mean, if Washington thought that McCarthy and Nix and Penix and Daniels and May and everybody, except for Caleb Williams because he was going number one. If they just thought, no, these guys suck, that's about the only way that the Giants could actually, in God's green earth, could trade it up from 6-2 for the Redskins. But they thought the Redskins, obviously they're doing their all due diligence and all that. They got their pick of the rest of the other 342 quarterbacks that went in the first round. And if they like one of them, right, they weren't trading for nobody. I don't blame them either. You need a quarterback, with the new regime coming in, right? If you're in heart and soul, this is the guy. As I said, if a team's going to give you the next 312 first-round picks, you take your guy. You take him, and you roll the dice with him, baby, right? So there was no way that Washington was trading with the Giants or anybody. So they got Daniels, and it's going to be very exciting. Right, he just has to realize also, it's going to be a little different. He's not going to have Malik Neighbors throwing the ball to. He's not going to be throwing the ball against Chuck E. Cheese Tech. With all the wide receivers, 95% of the time might be running wide open and stuff like that. So it's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to be very exciting. We're going to have some, with Hurts, Dak, Daniels, right, and DJ, so should be, once again, should be an exciting season, but let's see here. Let's see. Have you guys seen enough that you would trade up for him? Giants General Manager Joe Schoen can be seen asking fellow decision makers in pre-draft meeting. Daniels, Daboll responded, I would. Others in the room can be heard echoing Daboll's approval, while team owner John Mara is portrayed as more hesitant, telling Shane in a separate clip that if we are about to pull this deal off, I'm going to have palpitations. Now, as I said, I don't even know if there was any way in God's green earth they could have traded either one, either to go up to number 2 or number 3. I said, for me, I said, as long as if because with I'm going to say the Redskins, the Commanders, right? The Commanders or the Patriots, they got new regimes in there, right? If they did their due diligence, and especially with the Patriots are like, okay, well, if Daniels goes 2, we'll get May. We're good with May. May goes 2, we got Daniels at 3. We're good with Daniels. Right? Or we don't like May at 3, but we like McCarthy, whatever. If they feel, they need quarterbacks, Commanders, Patriots, right? So if they feel that their guy is there, you got to take him. Because this was a quarterback-rich class, and you got to have a quarterback. Right? So, all right. Let's see. So Shane was up front with reporters ahead of the draft about the possibility of New York spending a first-round pick on a quarterback. And we certainly could have, because there was quite a few quarterbacks still left. And also says, it's not clear when Mara said, I'm going to have palpitations. It's not clear if Mara's comments are directed response to a potential Daniels move. I mean, once again, I don't even know if, it could have been humanly possible. Jones, meanwhile, admitted that the draft, he wasn't fired up to learn the Giants sought to replace him, but acknowledged it's part of the business at this level. He's looking to reclaim the team's trust while returning from his torn ACL. Turnover-ridden 2023 season, his first after landing the $160 million contract. So, but also you can also see where possibly, if, right? You can see where, and once again, this was just a little snippet, right? But you can see where May was kind of like up on the lingo, what Daboll was kind of throwing at him and everything like that. So, I'm sure May got some high marks too. But apparently, well, I can't say none of the other guys did, but they were just weighing it out. It's like, we like McCarthy, but we like Neighbors. So, I mean, it was definitely weighing it out. You don't want to overreach for some guy, right? You want to try to take the guy about where you think, you just can't take a quarterback just because we need a quarterback. We're at 6. We got to need a quarterback. We got to take a quarterback. Now, whether he's a pick 6 or, whatever, if we're picking 6, we need a quarterback, we're taking a quarterback. No, you can't do that. If you got to go another year or so, Plus, also what Shane was kind of saying too at Hard Knocks is that let's protect them. But also we have to protect ourselves too. He was talking about maybe getting, but I mean, they brought in Drew Lock, right? So they got Drew Lock. So, hey, I mean, Drew Lock's won some games in this league. He was drafted high for a reason, right? So we'll have to wait and see. It only cost the Giants like $5 million for him. So who knows, right? Who knows? I mean, he's not, an upper echelon quarterback. Well, I'll have to wait and see, right? But I mean, I think it was a smart move for the Giants to get Malik Neighbors. Now they brought in, to help bolster the offensive line. Got a new offensive line coach in there. Now we have a number 1 wide receiver. Boom, right? Also sprinkle in the mix there. We got a healthy Wan'Dale, as he was talking about last year too. Because when he first came back, he wasn't quite, he was there, but he wasn't quite 100%. But he said as the season wore on, he can see where, his leg was starting to feel better and better. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Wan'Dale and Jalin, right? So I said, looking at the beauty of what Shane's been doing so far, right? First round wide receiver, we got a second round wide receiver, we got a third round wide receiver, we got Wan'Dale, a little scap, you can do a whole bunch of little things, right? Jaylen can take the top off of deep. Don't sleep on that mofo. Let me tell you what, don't sleep on him. I mean, because the thing is, you're gonna have Wan'Dale running underneath or whatever, you got Malik doing whatever the heck he wants to do out there. And then, you start thinking, you think, or you pause or whatever for more than a split second or something like that. Jalin can be right past you. And we've seen Jalin, it's not, the guy can run. Yeah. But, can he run and can he catch a pass? Yes, he can. So, I mean, we got 3 different little skill sets with the wide receivers, and I think they're all. I'm not going to say prime for a good year or something like that, but I think we have 3 very good wide receivers there. Now the thing is, do we have the offensive line, and do we have the quarterback going for it into the future? So we'll have to wait and see. Now, of course, then we have Theo. He's landed on PUP with the dreaded hip flexor. Right, and I've seen that. Now, I've seen this. Of course, this is on Google. Okay, so, but typically a hip flexor. How long does it take a hip flexor to heal? Now it could be multiple weeks because you got like a little strain, or you could have like a tear. So once again, this is Google. Right. So if I'm off on this, please forgive me. I'm not a doctor, but. Says typically it requires 1 to 3 weeks of rest and treatment to recover from a mild condition fully. So if it's a mild hip flexor, you're talking a couple weeks. A hip flexor, also known as a hip flexor strain, occurs when the muscles and tendons that attach to the pelvic bone are stretched or torn. These muscles are located in the front of the hip and near the top of the thigh and help you flex your hip beyond your knee. All right, let's see. Hold on. Did not require take. Okay, here we go. On the other hand, more severe cases can take around 4 to 6 weeks or longer. In addition, injuries that did not receive immediate treatment may take months to recover fully and may also cause chronic pain. Ooh. So, can a hip flexor heal on its own? Let's see. So we got this. Click on this here. Usually, hip flexor injury will get better with time and rest. However, if you have symptoms that persist beyond 1 to 2 weeks, see a doctor to rule out other injuries to ensure that you're getting proper treatment. Can you walk with a hip flexor in? What does a hip flexor injury feel like? You'll feel a hip flexor strain in the front where your thigh meets your hip. Depending on how bad the strain is, you may notice mild pain and pulling in the front of the hip, cramping, or sharp pain. So it all depends, like with Theo, right? Is it a strain? Could take a couple weeks, mild strain, right? If it's obviously something worse, it seems like it can heal, but obviously it might take time. Now, since they put him on the PUP list, okay, it seems like it happened during football type injury. It's not like something that he did on his time off or whatever. That would be the non-football injury list, the NFI list. But so he's on the PUP list. So this happened, I guess during, when we were there, obviously before the 6-week layoff, I guess, right? The OTAs, right? So. But it all depends upon, how bad it is. But, I mean, if it's a mild one, and obviously there's no need to bring him back in a hurry because the guy's making the team. You don't draft this athletic freak in the 4th round, okay? The numbers he put up, and all that stuff. And I'm not saying he's going to be, Kelsey or Skittle man or nothing like that, but you don't draft a dude in the 4th round with his type of athletic ability and size and all that stuff and everything. The man's on the team. Just pencil the dude in, okay? So there's no need to rush the dude back, even if if he needs a month off, right? We're not going to start playing primetime football for almost 2 months. So even if he needs a month off, give the dude a month off, right? I mean, he can certainly hit the books and keep up and watching film and all that stuff and everything, right? And if if he's not in 100% football shape at the beginning of the season, all that, well, you got Bellinger, you got 300 other tight ends you could put in there. If you get him in there for 10, 15 snaps or whatever, the next week get him in there for 20 snaps and 25, just work him up from there. Right, but so the guy's on the team, and there's no need to rush him back in there. So I mean, if the guy needs a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks or whatever to get over the hip flexor strain, go get him, Tiger. So, so he's on PUP, but Daniel Jones apparently avoided Daniel Jones injury. New York Giants quarterback to avoid the PUP list. Daniel Jones will be on the field to begin training camp. According to Ian Rappaport of NFL Network, the Giants starting quarterback is not expected to begin training camp on the physically able to perform list. Jones was a limited participant throughout the spring workouts, mostly just getting the 7-on-7s without progressing to the full team, without progressing to the 11-on-11s. But from the insiders on NFL Network, Daniel Jones is not expected to begin training camp on the PUP list, and an indication of how positive his ACL rehab has gone. And I mean, as I said once again, whether he has a good year, whether he has a bad year, whether we have a 500 record, we go to the playoffs, we don't, blah, blah. Don't know. One thing you do know, okay, without question, whether you like Daniel Jones, you hate Daniel Jones, right? One thing you do know without question about Daniel Jones, he's going to do everything in his power, humanly possible, to get back on the field as fast as possible. Right? Nobody's going to outwork the guy. Right? He's like probably the first guy in, last guy out. He's doing everything possible. And I said, once again, is that going to lead him into a the starting quarterback for the Giants for the next 10 years or something. Who knows, right? But you do know you're going to get the effort out of the guy, to make himself, especially heal himself, right? Let's see. Both Jones and head coach Brian Daboll maintained during the spring that the sixth-year quarterback was expected to be ready for training camp. Whether Jones will be a full go right at the start of training camp remains to be seen. The Giants still may take it slow with Jones to ensure he's fully ready to return. That's going to be interesting to see when they start with the preseason games. How often does he get in there? Going to be interesting. This is a massive season for both Jones and the current regime of Daboll and general manager Joe Schoen. The Giants technically have an out in Jones' contract after this upcoming season that includes taking a $22.2 million dead cap hit if they were to let him go. The current expectation is that Jones will be ready for the start of the season, and avoiding the PUP list is a step in the right direction. So that's good. Good to hear. I mean, the Giants with their history of the injuries, it's like, if we can avoid as many injuries as possible, I'll take them, right? So Daniel Jones is on track. It's going to be, interesting. Do they get him in there, full speed ahead, right? Next Wednesday, 11 on 11s, he's out there, or exactly what? I said when we have the, the preseason games, how much does he get in there? We'll have to wait and see. All right. I saw this here. I'm like, man, the Giants team. Who is this? SI.com. This is, and if I mispronounced your name, I'm an idiot. I do apologize. Andrew Prasad, Parsad, P-A-R-S-A-U-D. I am an idiot. I'll be the first. My wife will second that. She'll second that emotion. Oh, yeah. But Giants defense is in the bottom third. I'm like, man, really? Man, we got some nice building blocks there, I'll tell you. But the Giants defense may not have been a top unit in 2023, but it was largely responsible for some of the team's 6 wins. Oh, yeah. Yep. Kept the team around. Absolutely. Now we did struggle big time against the Cardinal game, but let's not forget. I mean, that was a team effort in the second half because the defense kept us in the game in the second half. It almost got us blown out of the game in the first half, but it kept us in the game in the second half, and then obviously the offense had to put up what we had to put 812 points in the second half to come back and beat the Cardinals. So that was a team effort there. In that Cardinal game in the second half, but I mean, you look at a lot of the other games that were, that we won, maybe some lower scoring games, So the defense certainly helped. We got blown out in some. I mean, the one Cowboy game where we gave up over 600 yards of offense. I mean, it's like, holy, just embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. These days, the Giants have a solid core of defensive players. They got a Carrick, Dexter Lawrence, Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Deontay Banks. With the new defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen, throwing in the mix, there are reasons to be excited about this unit heading into 2024. Yeah. And don't forget about, we did brought in Phillips, right? We got Newman. Bringing Pinnock back, Micah McFadden, right? That was a nice unit in the middle there. We brought back Isaiah Simmons, bottom third. Yeah. I'm having a hard time believing that one. Burns was the team splash acquisition acquired via trade. But I said, let's not forget, don't sleep on our second and third round picks either. Don't you dare do that. The hope is that Burns will turn out to be the missing piece that will help the Giants get to the quarterback more consistently. He should. Well, I'm not going to say missing, but I mean, he's got to help, right? Because you can't, right? I mean, we got three guys that can get to the quarterback. Despite the changes made to the unit, Anthony DiBono of Pro Football Network, in his new rank of every team's defense ahead of the 2024 season, put the Giants at number 20 for one specific. Okay. Yeah, okay. All right. Well, all right. Okay. I'm thinking bottom. I'm thinking like, 27, 28 or something. 20. Okay. I think that could, for me, that would be the limit of how far back. Yeah, okay. That I could see. I take it back. I could also see him being like around number 15 or something like that. But okay, 20. I'll buy that. The Giants are one of the most underrated defenses in the NFL, DeBono wrote. New York's front seven is loaded with talent, as they have 4 players that could potentially earn a spot in the Pro Bowl. Yet it's hard to dismiss the concerns about the Giants' unproven secondary, which is true. Let's see here. That will rely heavily on inexperienced players in 2024. There's a fair evaluation of the Giants' defense, while the front seven is loaded with talent. The back end has some serious questions that must be answered. Because, you figure if you look at it like Flott, this is what, his third season. If we have Phillips in there, right? I'm not sure if how they're going to, but Phillips' first season, right? If Newman's in there, this will be his first season. Banks, this will be his second season. So we got some, which is good. I love a young team that if we can get them to gel together, get them to come along together, keep them together, right? But there is some learning curve with that, right? Especially if you don't have some, at least some experience either on the bench or at least in the locker room or something like that. But I like the young team. We're bringing in young players. I love it. But the thing is, you want to draft the young guys, develop the young guys, and keep the young guys. But anyway, let's see. While the front seven is loaded with the second cornerback role will be one of the most important battles heading into training camp. Cordell Flott is the current frontrunner, but he'll compete with David Long Jr., Trey Herndon, Trey Hawkins, the third, might I add, Nick McLeod, and Aaron Robinson, even if he makes the team. Deontay Banks had a solid rookie season, breaking up 11 passes with 2 interceptions. Not only will the Giants be hoping for a year 2 leap, but he'll have to take on a larger role as the team's primary cornerback as they play a gauntlet of star receivers. Throughout the season, starting with Justin Jefferson in week 1. Oh yeah, get your popcorn ready. At least though, but Hawkinson is not expecting to play. He's supposed to be, I think, on injury reserve. I don't know what his injury is or whatever, but he's not expected to be playing. So, but the thing is what we did 2 years ago when we played the Vikings in Minnesota, those 2 games, it was Wink. He seemed to always have like 2 guys, one underneath or following Jefferson and another guy over top or something like that. That's why Jefferson's numbers were not crazy. But Hawkinson had 75 catches each game. I'm like, why are we covering this guy? Or do we know that we realize there is a tight end on the field, right? I'm like, why is this guy? Why are we halfway through the third quarter and that's his 13th reception? What's going on? So it is. You can't, you rob Peter to pay Paul or something. It's like the, I think, if I remember, I think it was Sam Huff said it, like in the 58 championship game. Not that anybody, but, the one thing why Raymond Berry just chewed him up, spit him out, the Giants, the wide receiver for the Colts, is because the Giants were, they didn't know that Lenny Moore hurt his back, and he was just kind of like running around kind of like as a decoy. But the Giants kind of like were shifting some of their coverage, I guess, over there to keep like maybe 2 guys on Lenny, because Lenny Moore could just, Raymond Berry was, it was a reception, receiver, but he's not somebody who's going to take the top off the defense, get behind everybody, and catch a long play. I mean, of course he does if you don't keep an eye on him, but I mean, that's not what Raymond Berry pretty much does. Lenny Moore can. I mean, so the Giants were kind of like shifting coverage, maybe to keep an eye on Lenny Moore. But as Sam Huff said, you can only do so much. You can't double cover this guy and double cover that guy. And, there's only so much you can do. You can try to take one guy out of the game. And, when you got a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing the ball to two Hall of Fame wide receivers, or two Hall of Fame, because Lenny Moore was also in the backfield too. Lenny Moore could do freaking pretty much anything, But I mean, so when you got two Hall of Famers running down the field and the Hall of Fame quarterback throwing the ball to them, you can only do so much. So they tried to, I think, eliminate or cover Lenny Moore, right? But which wound up leaving Berry open more often. Berry, I think, had like 12 receptions or something. Just absolutely just great. He was always open. I mean, every time it's just needed a reception, he just threw the ball. So it's the same thing like with with Jefferson. If you're going to cover him, you're going to leave somebody else open, right? But nice thing is like with Hockenson, it's like apparently I don't think he's going to be playing week 1. So yeah, you don't want nobody getting hurt. You don't want nobody getting injured or like that. But as they say a lot, it's not so much who you're playing, it's when you're playing, right? And it's the same thing too. Is that the Giants aren't facing their rookie quarterback. We might be going to Sam Darnold, right? So the Giants defense still needs to improve, starting with the run defense. But this is why one of the huge reasons that Daboll wanted to bring Bowen in, as we saw on Hard Knocks. He was going over, I can't remember the numbers, but he was going over, he was showing them on his phone or what it was. But he was showing Shane some numbers about Bowen's defense. He's like, yards per rush, average first, yards per guy the first, but the red zone did first, 7. He's like, can we get our run? He said, Daboll's like, can we get our run defense to look like this, please? Right. And that's hopefully what we're going to get. Because I really believe that, wow. Question. Now they have Simmons. I can't remember their guys and all that, but the Tennessee. But Simmons is he's a really good guy. Yeah, but we got Sexy Dexy. Right? I'm not sure who's going to be next to him, but with Kayvon, with Burns, and with Akarake, the guys that we got there are, to me, are better. Okay, and we got Isaiah Simmons, right? And McFadden is very good at like downhill stuff, So the guys that we got in our box there or whatever are better than what the Titans have, right? And the Titans had some very good run defensive numbers. So that's what you're gonna, hopefully, hopefully you're gonna get that from the Bowen defense. And as I said, what I would love next year if we could draft somebody in the first or second round to put next to Sexy, man, that'd be fantastic. Let's see. Giants gave up 132 yards a game, 4.7 yards a rush, which is 29th and 31st in the league, respectively. Giants are banking on the veteran Jaelan Phillips and younger players such as Jordan Riley, DJ Davidson. Don't forget about Nacho, right? Let's see. Akarake in the middle, along with Micah McFadden, should once again provide. And don't forget about Sal. I'm anxious to see him on the field, although I'm sure he'll be out there, especially on special teams. Then we got Bowen's defensive system is built on organic pressure, allowing his front to attack rather than relying on exotic blitzes involving the defensive secondary. He also expects his cornerbacks to be physical and make plays in the run game. This is a very different system from Wicks. It is what it is. But, but with Wicks, as I said, Wink was weak, obviously, in the run game. But Wink gave you a lot of pressure, and we got a bunch of turnovers last year. So this is very different from Wink, and the Giants players will have to adjust to it this year. Can they improve the young secondary and the addition of a star pass rusher? This could be a potential breakout year for the Giants defense. So, absolutely. I could say 20. That to me, that's fair because of the unproven secondary. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what. If I said if you want to check off almost all the boxes to the defense, said next year if we in the first round grab somebody in the second if you have a hole if you have a corner the slot corner or this if you can't get the second cornerback, if you need a cornerback, get a cornerback in the first if you can, what I mean? But also get a defensive tackle, and then you would be just about checked off almost all the boxes. I mean, you have a couple safeties that you can certainly rely on, right? If you draft another cornerback next year, you should have cornerbacks. Right? You got your edge rushers. Also, that too. If Azeez is gone, you might want to draft another edge rusher, maybe in the third round, right? But I'm saying, if you can get somebody next to Sexy Dexy, your defense would be really nice, really, really nice. But we're getting ahead of ourselves here. All right. And then next we got. Now I want to talk about Andrew, Sexy, Jalin, and Wan'Dale. So we got in PFF's the 50 best players in the NFL ahead of the 2024 season. We got Sexy and we got Andrew. Well worth it on here, without question. Dexter Lawrence comes in at number 11. He comes in even ahead of Josh Allen. Josh Allen's number 12. Sexy is at number 11. Lamar Jackson is number 13. Holy crap. They got him up at number 11. Wow. Way to go, Dexy. Way to go, Sexy. Dexter Lawrence is rewriting what was thought to be pass at the nose tackle position. Over the past 2 seasons, his resume included 81 quarterback pressures when lining up either head up over the center or shaded to either side of the center. The next closest player has 16. Are you kidding me? Wow. 81 quarterback pressures when lining up either right over the center or to either side of the center. The next closest player has 16. He has 81. Holy crap. Lawrence disrupts the game from a true nose tackle alignment better than any player PFF has seen over the past 18 seasons, which is basically since they started, 2007. So the Sexy one, okay, disrupts. Let me read this again. The game from a true nose tackle alignment better than any player in the history from PFF over the past 18 seasons. Because I think they started in 2007. So you go I think 2007 or 6. So basically since they've started, true nose tackle. We're not saying the 3 technique or anything like that where Jones is there or Aaron Donald is out there or nothing like that. But right over right? Sexy by far, okay, is putting up Hall of Fame numbers. By far. 81. The next closest guy is 16. Are you kidding me? That's why it would be so important, I really think, if we can get a tackle. Well, we got a lot of tackles, okay? But are they a jag or are they a tackle? Are they just another guy to put in there? So if we could draft a tackle next season high, first, second round to put next to Sexy, this defensive line could be just silly. It's just silly. Sexy, he is truly unique athlete who is only getting better. And it's scary. But the thing is also, I keep bringing up is that, because once again, this is his 6th season, right? And next season will be his 7th. So we bring in somebody, next season will be his 7th season, right? Somewhere along the line, he's going to start, leveling out, and then he's going to start, because he's, hey, if he's the Giants' nose tackle for the next 800 years and he only gets better for the next 799 years, sign me up for that. But that's probably not going to happen. Somewhere along the line, he's going to start leveling out, and then he's going to start, one injury could be cataclysmic to his, right? He's been relatively healthy, and all. So let's get somebody in there next to him to make this front four just freaking unbelievable. while he's still in his prime. Let's do that, right? All right, then, of course, then we got Andrew's 29, I think it is. Andrew. Yeah, they got Penei Sewell in front of him at 28. That's hard to argue. But Andrew Thomas, the loss of Andrew Thomas to injury last season was a devastating blow to an already weak offensive line. Yep. Thomas ended up playing just 576 snaps, a little more than half of his 2022 total. He has elite pass blocking chops and had brought his run blocking to a similar level in 2022 before injuries derailed him in 2023. If Thomas bounces back and enjoys a healthy season while having some better players alongside him, which is true, on the Giants line, he is well worthy of the ranking of number 29 overall. Yep, that's hard to argue. All right, but then we got, because then we got those guys in the like the PFF, right, the top 50. But then we got a couple, Wan'Dale and Jalin. Okay, they are two wide receivers make the 50. Two New York Giants wide receivers make the 50 players under the radar list. Okay, Malik is not under the radar. I mean, he's on the radar. Okay. So the Giants will have an exciting wide receiver room entering the 2024 season. Let's not forget. I mean, we have our basically almost our year in and year out yards leader, Darius Slayton. Okay, who we've seen even last year can still put up some big plays. Right, we got Jalin Hyatt who can take the top off of defense. We got Wan'Dale Robinson who seemed to be getting better as the games went along last year. Now we got Malik Neighbors. We got a pretty darn good, wide receiver room. To start the season, Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Darius Slayton will be the starters for now. Two other players who could receive snaps throughout the year are Jalin Hyatt and Allen Robinson. Many people have undervalued the Giants' wide receiver core because of quarterback play. Yep. What is also true is the Giants have not had the 1,000-yard receiver since Odell Beckham Jr., which is true. Yep. Neighbors was the 6th overall pick, right? But we got CBS Sports analyst Zachary Perels created an article about 50 under-the-radar players entering the 2024 season. He had at least one player from each NFL team make the list. That's cool. I like that. He had two players from the Giants make this list, and they were both wide receivers, Wan'Dale and Jalin Hyatt. The Giants selected Malik Neighbors 6th overall, continuing to pour resources into the wide receiver group. Yep. Wide receiver and tight end, right? Wan'Dale was a 2nd-round pick 2 years ago. Jalin was a 3rd-rounder last year. And, now, of course, Malik Neighbors is the 1st-rounder this year. Even if things go sideways for Daniel Jones, it would be nice to see Robinson and or Hyatt emerge as legitimate young pieces. Robinson can do things with the ball in his hands, but has missed a lot of time. Hyatt didn't do much as a rookie. There is a chance Jalin gets more of an opportunity in his 2nd season, depending upon what happens with Darius Slayton. There are a lot of Giant fans who want to see Hyatt have more chances this season. I would too. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I love Darius Slayton, and I wish he would be a Giant forever. But he wants to get paid. I don't blame him, right? And I don't see the Giants paying him next season. So this is quite possibly going to be his last season with the Giants. I'd like to see Jalin get on the field more, get some experience, get some more playing time. Right. And if something goes wrong, right, we have an injury or whatever, you got Darius Slayton on the sideline, right? This is quite possibly might be Darius' last season with the Giants. Let's see. The Giants might want to throw it deep more this season, but they have to be able to block. Right? They can't give up 85 sacks. It will be important for Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalin Hyatt to have a good season because they need to take some pressure off Malik Neighbors. It will be interesting to see what happens, but there is no doubt that these two names will be someone to watch for. Absolutely. A lot of it has to do, can we protect the quarterback? Can we have the quarterback standing up long enough, right, to be able to throw something down the field? So. And then finally, last but not least, look who's in trouble again. Well, at least this time I did see this. It's not like he didn't go out and rape some girl or something like that, or whatever, but it's just amazing. Some guys can, function out of football, out in the real world, and other guys are just totally lost. Some guys are, whatever. If you think about it, or you can come up with a bunch of names of guys that are just like super spectacular on the field, and out in the real world, they're freaking lost. Absolutely lost, and that would be Lawrence Taylor. He's just absolutely lost. He's very, very, very lucky that he is who he is, because I'm sure with endorsements and maybe he signs cards at a card show or something like that. I'm sure he gets money for that. And blah, 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 blah. So I'm sure he's very lucky he has money coming in, because if he was living on just Social Security or something like that, he'd be in a lot of trouble. Because, his drinking, and if he does any drugs or whatever like that, stuff, his lifestyle, whatnot, he'd be in a lot of freaking trouble. A lot of trouble. He's very lucky he has money coming in. But I said, but some guys are fantastic on the field, and some guys are also fantastic off the field. Some guys got their heads screwed up, right? And other guys are just, they can play football, but outside in the real world, they're just totally lost. And that would be Lawrence Taylor. So, but I said, at least this time, apparently, just from reading this article, it's nothing, he just failed to report, apparently, which is obviously not good, but at least he didn't go out and commit an act or something like that. It says Lawrence Taylor has been arrested again in Florida for an identical alleged offense he was first accused of 3 years ago. Let's see. LT, a giant legend, blah, 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 turned himself into Broward maybe, County on Wednesday on one count of failure to report name or residence change as a sex offender. So I guess he changed residences and he didn't report as a sex offender. Taylor, 65, was released in the early morning hours on Thursday. Taylor's attorney, Mark Iglarsh maintained his client's innocence. My client, Lawrence Taylor, will be pleading not guilty to the recent charges, he said. As with the previous incident involving the same allegations, Mr. Taylor did not knowingly commit any criminal offense. So thank goodness for that. Well, if he did forget, right, to report as a sex offender, once again, that's not good, but at least he wasn't out there committing an act. Mr. Taylor did not knowingly commit any criminal offense. The situation is a significant misunderstanding. We are confident that once the prosecutors review the evidence demonstrating Mr. Taylor's innocence, he will once again achieve a favorable outcome. Taylor pled guilty to sexual misconduct and patronizing a prostitute in 2011 after he was accused of having sex with a 16-year-old. Unbelievable, dude. Absolutely unbelievable. At the time of the allegations, Taylor said that the girl told him she was 19. Well, let's say, hold on. So he's 65. So we go back. So he was 52, I guess, at the time. Even if he was 50, just give him the benefit of that. Say he was 50. If she's 19, don't get me wrong. Yeah, If you want to look at it like, yeah. Oh, a lot of guys, I mean, it'll be like, damn, I had sex with a girl who was 30 years younger than me. So, I mean, that's, but still. You're 15. She said, oh, no, I'm 19. He said, once again, guys, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're Lawrence Taylor, I mean, once again, I think he was married. Right? I mean, I don't know why you're if you're married. I mean, I think he was married. So, I mean, isn't it, if you're married, I think, aren't you supposed to just have sex with the same person? Isn't that kind of the idea behind marriage? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I mean, that's what I've done for 37 years now. Same person. That's what marriage is. But anyway, I mean, but I mean, it's like, she said she was 19. Yeah, I mean, once again, some guys are just totally lost out there. In 2021, he was also arrested for not notifying authorities of a dress change, and his attorney called the arrest a mix-up. The case was resolved when Taylor pled no contest to residency restriction for persons convicted of certain sexual offenses, a lesser charge than what he had been facing. Taylor has faced multiple other arrests for drug charges in his post-playing career, and was also arrested for DUI in 2016. Yeah, I mean, it's just, once again, just some guys, are lost out in the real world. And I said, he's very, very lucky. I said, that he is who he is and all. And, he has money coming in. I don't know what he had, whatever, but I'm sure he has some kind of money coming in. He's going to have a hard time getting, endorsements from like Campbell's Soup or something like that. You're not going to see him on TV commercials and stuff like that. But I'm sure when he was in football, or maybe he was just out of football, he might have had, I know he showed up in the WWE or WWF, whatever it was back then. And I mean, because he was in shape and he was able to, at least seem like he could be a wrestler. But I mean, also he was in football films. But now he's 65. You're not gonna cast him in a starring role as a starting linebacker for a team, unless it's the Geritol team or something like that. So a lot of that stuff's drying up for him. But I'm sure he has money coming in from someplace. I mean, I said, well, card signing shows will give you $10,000, or you sign a bunch of autographs, we'll give you this much money or something like that, or whatever. But I said, other than that, he's very, very lucky that he has some money coming in, because he might probably be living on the streets with his drinking and all that stuff and everything. And just, once again, it's just, nobody's perfect. I understand that. But some people have a better grasp of the outside world and how to live in it and everything like that. And, just once again, having sex with a 16-year-old girl, whether she said she was 19 or 20, whatever. I mean, especially if you were married, I think, DUI, he's always drunk. Seems like he's always drunk. He was drunk at the 100th anniversary show for the Giants. He was drunk. He's always, I mean, just, I see it, the one thing I for me is that when I see that, makes me, I don't drink. It makes me tired too. But when I see people act like that and stuff like that, it makes me, I don't touch the stuff. My wife drinks. She drinks for me, But I said, I don't drink, because there's nothing in that bottle that's going to do anything for me, anything good for me. If I have a beer or whatever or something like that, I mean, a beer or two. Yeah, I mean, if especially when I'm on vacation or something, I still won't do it. But I really see no harm in that. But the thing is that some people just can't control, and they're always drunk. and everything. And unfortunately, Lawrence Taylor is in, it's that boat. He just doesn't know what to do in the real world. It's like the one thing is it's kind of like, he's used to the fame and the excitement and all of that and everything like that. And when that comes on the field, and when you're not on the field and you're looking for that out there, the excitement and all that stuff, right? Well, that's from gambling or doing drugs or banging 16-year-old girls or getting drunk and driving, right? You got to know, right, how to play on the field and all that, but how you got to shift gears, and when you're out in the real world, it's different. But some guys can't do that. They need that high that they get from football. Now, their football career's over with, they got to have that high. Where can I get it from? Well, I can get it from soliciting prostitutes, maybe gambling, drinking, doing drugs, driving under the influence of them. I mean, that's exciting, right? It might be exciting, but it's stupid. So, all right, guys, been 1 hour. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, means the world to me. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.